Coming up on Mountain News this morning, a trial is underway claiming the University of Kentucky violated Title IX against female athletes. And one school system was able to become the first school in the state with electric buses.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Good morning, I'm Olivia Calfee. The time is 5:30 on August 8th. Now let's check in with Chief Forecaster Brandon Robinson for a look at your much calmer forecast this morning. I know yesterday there were some concerns, but luckily I think a lot of those are out of the way for the next couple of days.
Yeah, and we're actually getting something in Hazard that we didn't get yesterday, rain.
Yes.
So we're looking again at some of that this morning. Let's take you to a bit of a tour on live pinpoint Doppler radar this morning. It may have moved down to the region right now, but again, not a whole lot showing up. As we zoom into the Hazard area, it's just south of the station. Some heavy pockets of rain. We got another one coming into play. Basically, we are right about here. Let me see if I can circle it for you. Here's the station right about here. And again, well, it's not going to separate. That line right there is kind of where the station is. We got some more heavy rain working toward us there. But again, keeping an eye on things this morning. A little bit of visibility issues. Not terrible out there. Wise a little bit rough, but everybody else doing decently so far. Temperatures in the 60s and 70s out there. 63 Clintwood and Wise to 71 in Monticello and 70 in Somerset this morning. Dew points, yeah, still sticky out there. Anything above 60 is not good, and we're continuing to see that from 61 in Wise and Irvin to 70 there in Moorhead, Somerset. We're looking again at spotty chances for rain with clearing skies. This might take a little while to get there today, and cooler temperatures, only about 80 for a daytime high. It's not going to feel like 80 though, because those dew points are going to stay high, so be ready for that. Olivia?
Thank you, Brandon. Kentucky State Police say a husband and wife are dead in Jackson County after a reported shooting. Troopers identified the couple as 53-year-old Randy Baker and 44-year-old Tammy Baker. The couple was found dead near a home on Cave Springs Road. Police say Tammy died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Officers say they are not actively searching for other suspects. Firefighters with the Mount Vernon Fire Department say 11 animals died in a house fire yesterday morning. Officials say the home was on Maple Grove Road. When officials arrived, firefighters say the home was fully engulfed. Around 7 dogs and 4 birds died in the fire. A Laurel County man led deputies on a chase. The sheriff's office says a deputy was working a theft investigation off Dean Hundley Road when he heard a motorcycle take off. He noticed it was 23-year-old Trevor Burkhart, who was wanted on several felony arrest warrants. The deputy tried to pull him over, but he kept going. He eventually crashed into a mailbox and was thrown from the motorcycle along with a passenger. He's facing a list of charges, including theft and drug possession. New state regulations could potentially close pools in the Commonwealth. The new regulations require facilities meeting a certain criteria to have lifeguards on duty. Other changes include modifying and updating equipment and increasing water quality. It was a day of strong storms across much of the region. One area hit particularly hard yesterday, a section of Lawrence County, Kentucky. Neighbors saw a large number of trees fall. Several homes were damaged. Andrew Colgrove reports those who witnessed it are believing they may have been hit by a twister.
They like ping-ponged.
Severe weather leaving behind damage and shaken nerves in Lawrence County, Kentucky.
It was scary.
I was shaking.
It's a 2-car garage and it's completely smashed.
Denny Clark was watching TV in his home along Birch Road in Louisa Monday afternoon when heavy rain started pounding. Tell me about what this sounded like as this was happening.
Just a bomb going off. I mean, it was so loud and the wind was crazy. I just never seen anything like it in my life.
He says he felt his house shake.
That scared crap out of me.
He later came outside and saw part of a tree had come down, crushing his garage.
This is where the garage door was.
He's grateful his 3 kids were not home when this happened.
They play right here in this room, right beside the garage. That's where they play their Xboxes and all their toys and stuff are.
Pieces of his house left scattered in the woods and hanging in trees. And this is what remains of Clark's pool building. He says he watched out his window as the winds lifted it up off its foundation.
Kid just pulled it completely off the ground and threw it. and it's over here in the woods.
When I saw it, I was like, oh my gosh.
Curtis Ryan lives next door. He says as the frightening weather moved in, he took his kids downstairs as a precaution.
I heard that howl, and we knew to dip out.
Many snapped trees in the area, another falling on this house nearby. Curtis wonders if they were hit by a tornado.
All I see is just trees and wind. That's it. That's all I saw.
School's getting ready to start. It's just it's a mess. It's gonna take a lot of time and work.
Starting the week with a strenuous cleanup effort. Andrew Colgrove, WSAZ News Channel 3, Lawrence County.
A crew from the National Weather Service is expected to survey that area today to determine if the damage was tornadic or from straight line winds. On Monday, Wolfe County Schools became the first in Kentucky with an electric school bus. Wolfe County Schools received 2 grants that helped them to get 4 electric vehicles for this school year. Transportation Director John Halsey says that he has been with the county for 23 years. He says he is surprised but excited that Wolfe County is receiving the Commonwealth's first electric bus.
Would have never thought that Wolfe County would have been the first electric bus in the state. It's a lot of hard work. We've been at this for 1.5 years, 2 years, but we finally made it with the help of a lot of people.
There will be a total of 8 electric buses in the Commonwealth by the end of 2023. A trial against the University of Kentucky is now underway in a federal courthouse in Lexington. 2 students claim the university violated Title IX, saying they discriminated against female athletes. Jessica Umbro talked with a former University of Kentucky women's basketball player about how female athletes deserve better.
Title IX, gave me the opportunity to not only participate and compete and play in a sport that I love, but also gave me the ability to coach and continue to do that throughout my career.
Leewise Pruitt went from being a star on the court for the Wildcats to a leader on the sidelines for the Center College Lady Colonels in the 1980s. Pruitt believes institutions can better cater to their students' athletic needs.
You have to always be asking the students, what are you interested in? And if there's a great interest in a certain sport, then you have to really look at that and say, hey, should we offer this as a varsity sport?
While Pruitt is not involved in the current lawsuit against the University of Kentucky, her experience as a college athlete and coach leads her to support athletes who use Title IX to advocate for themselves.
It's not as easy as saying, hey, let's just throw this sport in there. There's a lot that goes on to forming a sport. But I do think athletic departments have to do their due diligence and look at what is needed by the students and what is wanted by the students and what the students are interested in. And you have to stay current too.
And while adding to an existing athletic program is not simple, sometimes it's necessary.
So that's what Title IX was put in. That's why it's there, is so that you have that option. It's not just having the sport, it's having the facilities and the scholarships and the medical training and the travel and the tutoring, and it's everything.
In Lexington, Jessica Umbro, WKYT.
According to an annual report filed with the federal government, women make up 57% of students at UK. But when you break down the gender of student athletes, women make up 49%. Compared to other schools in the SEC, UK had the 6th highest percentage of female student athletes. Beacons of Hope in Perry County played host to several leaders and representatives of organizations working to fight addiction. WYMT's Chandler Wilcox tells us how the event put a spotlight on efforts to battle substance abuse.
Under Primary Care Centers of Eastern Kentucky, Beacons of Hope is operating as a lighthouse for people battling addiction.
We actually have the ability to start with detox and work all the way through the system to where we have the opportunity to let them come back in our community and help us out.
Federal, state, and local leaders were in Perry County to celebrate. A lot of the funding for places like Beacons of Hope starts from government-initiated programs like Operation Unite.
And they are the people who work to supply places like this with the funds to allow them to do that. They've been doing that for 20 years now.
Not only did state leaders take time to speak, but they also heard from Holly Nation, who went through the Beacons of Hope program and is now in recovery while working as an office assistant.
I I like coming here and reminding everybody, you know, that it's not the end of the world and you can do this.
Nation stood in the center during the ribbon cutting. Her story served as a literal beacon of hope.
Her being willing to give her testimony, which is what it is, helps everybody else who's in this facility know they can make it too. So it's special. It's a God moment every time that you hear it, and it creates that true path towards getting better and getting back.
With each piece of ribbon, those attending can mark the event as a milestone in defeating addiction. In Perry County, Chandler Wilcox, WYMT Mountain News.
Governor Andy Beshear also thanked the General Assembly for their bipartisan work to help organizations battling substance abuse. And yesterday, Governor Beshear was in Manchester. The governor, Senate President Robert Stivers, and other officials announced nearly $4 million to benefit Clay and Leslie counties. The funding supports water, infrastructure, addiction recovery, economic development, tourism, accessibility for disabled Kentuckians, and nonprofits. You can find more specifics about where the money is going on our website. Now an update on a story we brought you over the weekend. The Wolfe County Search and Rescue Team says Sasha was back in his own bed last night. They shared this picture of the puppy. A snake bit him in his back legs near Turtleback Arch. Search and rescue crews say he couldn't walk on his own. Sasha's family says he's still in a lot of pain and will still need treatments. Coming up, stay with us to find out how Beyonce went the extra mile to take care of her fans and return them home safely.
And we'll dry out for a little bit before more rain chances come back into play into the region tomorrow night. I'll track them out for you in about 3 minutes.